Hello, I'm Alex Mansfield, the host of Manny Talks Shooting, and welcome to another episode. This is the shooting podcast where I talk to individuals all across the shooting industry. We'll talk competition, self-defense, concealed carry. If you like this content, check out our YouTube channel, Manny Talks Shooting. And without further ado, let's get to this episode. Manny Talks Shooting is proudly presented to you by D2 Custom Guns. Did you know that Phil the Groundhog isn't the only thing Puxatawny, Pennsylvania is famous for? That's right, D2 Custom Guns, the home of Dan Heizenreiter and one of the best, fabulous 2011 builders in the country. So make sure you guys go check him out, D2 Custom, anywhere you can see him on the social media, Facebook, Instagram, go check him out. If you see myself, Patches Reader, anyone with the D2 Custom Guns, make sure you go check him out, and you will thank me later. Now, let's get on to the show. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of the Manny Talks Shooting podcast, an episode where I am not talking to my computer by myself. For once, I'm sitting down with another person. This person is probably the better half of not another shooting show. The tallest guy I know in Nebraska is Mr. Jeff King. How are you doing, Jeff?
Hi there.
It is true. You are very tall. What's our recorded height now?
Technically it's 6'8" 3/4, but 6'9" sounds better.
Yeah, I mean it does. We always gotta get up there. I remember what was it? I think it was that you shot with my friends at a production nationals. Tony and Jackie. I remember my buddy Tony is a big guy, but when you're over him, it's impressive. That's for sure.
Correct. I was in a statistics class where it came up, and I'm in the 0.0000001% of height. And to put it, like, if you're trying to picture it, Thor Bjornsson, the mountain from Game of Thrones, mm-hmm. I'm the same height as him. He's just 100 pounds heavier.
Not bad. So you want to be a Game of Thrones stunt double? Do you want to get on another? You could get on a Game of Thrones spinoff then. Really tall dude.
I mean, I'm here for it. Like, I like attention.
Yeah. Now, speaking of that, have you watched House of the Dragon?
I haven't yet. I'm behind on like 7 different shows, and I just don't find the motivation to watch them.
Yeah, what was I binge watching lately? I'm back watching Loki. That's what I'm watching currently.
Yep, I've seen the first season. Never saw the second season.
You're not missing much.
The big one that I need to see is Shogun. I hear nothing but good things. It just won like 14 awards or something like that. But I don't have the patience to sit down and read subtitles.
Isn't Shogun like on FX or something?
I think it came out through FX. I don't have cable anymore, so I'd have to watch it through like Hulu or one of the other 18 different streaming platforms.
God, yeah, they get you no matter what you do. It's bad. Yes, it's on Hulu. It is on Hulu. So, yeah. Anywho, people other than knowing that you're tall probably don't know you, but Jeff, who are you and how'd you get into shooting?
Oh, I'm Jeff. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. I like long walks on the beach. Actually, I hate outdoor activities. Shooting is basically the only one I'm willing to do currently. I am a Muay Thai kickboxer. I travel the world and do dumb shit. I got into shooting. I got into guns as like a child. Like, I remember watching his Tales of the Gun and basically any type of gun content. I consumed it. To the point where I was even watching like Shooting USA. Like, I knew who Max Michel was. I knew who JJ Verkaza was. I knew all those names, but I never found a match. I thought it was just this mystical thing you did like far, far away. I didn't know that it was like 20 miles from my house. Until I was at a tactard range opened up near me, and they had an intro to competition shooting class, and I was like, oh, I'll give this a try. And they were like, oh yeah, there's a match 20 miles from here, like next week. And I was like, oh, I'll go do that. And now it's all I do.
Right. And was that range 20 miles away? Was that Eastern Nebraska Practical Shooters?
Yeah, Eastern Nebraska Gun Club. Eastern Nebraska Practical Shooter is the action shooting board within the board because reasons.
Yeah, well, you got to make yourself separate. It makes it easier when you can kick people off the land and make it easy that way.
Yep.
Separation, but it works. But yeah, that's what we kind of do at my club. Same thing. You know, there's the pistol group inside of the real board. So.
Does the pistol group man all of the board positions?
No. Well,
ours is about
Yeah, but we're about 50-50 on the real board.
Yeah, ours is about 50-50 right now.
Luckily enough, the rest of the board is pretty like, oh, you bring us money, you want to buy stuff? Okay, you can buy.
Well, that's nice of them.
Yeah, it's usually it makes it easy. But so I'm curious, how'd you get into Muay Thai?
This is a silly story, but my best friend in high school, I used to go to his house every Sunday and we watch a show of some sort. And his mom was like, "Hey, I go to this kickboxing thing. You're an angsty teen. Would you like to come kick things?" And I was like, "That sounds like fun." And I started kicking pads and I was like, "This is awesome." And I made it my personality for 6 years.
Mm-hmm. So, and don't you run a gym is like your day job, right?
Yep. So so a little bit more about me. So my mother passed away in April of 2021, and then in October of 2022, my coach, the guy that trained me, he passed away, and his final wish was that me and my current business partners, we opened a gym in his honor. And because my mom had passed away, I had the resources to kind of be like, okay, like I'll do this as a full-time job. And so I now run a gym, and we primarily do Muay Thai kickboxing. And so I get a spar and punch my students twice a week, which is really, really satisfying when you could get to punch your own customers. And they're like, "Thanks, coach."
They pay you to punch them. That's
correct.
Selected violence.
Yes.
So that's kind of cool. I mean, a bad way, not a bad way. I mean, it's an unfortunate way, but you get to do something you enjoy though, instead of going to 9 to 5. That sucks.
Right. I've done the 9 to 5. I've done temp work. I've done all the different things, and I'm like, yeah, this is what I'm enjoying right now, and we'll see how long it goes.
So the true question is, did you meet Lane in the gym or did you meet him on the range?
No, that's the funniest part is we met on the range, but his main coach and best friend is like, I knew that guy because Omaha is the largest small town in the world, and the martial arts community isn't much bigger. And so like I knew all the people he trains with before I met him. And then we and the first time I saw Lane, he had a knee brace on and was like hobbling through a stage with an XD40.
Okay, that was a minute ago.
7 years, 7 or 8. Now,
Lane trained under the Gracies, didn't he?
I'm not completely sure about his jiu-jitsu lineage. I've only known we talk about jiu-jitsu, but we don't get too much into the because I think it's Gracie, but I know there's like Gracie, I BJJF, there's 10th Planet, there's like 7 different ones, and they're all minor differences amongst each other and politics, and so
yeah, I can understand that too. And it's like a long line. It's like so and so. I was like,
well, right. And there's like 4 Gracie lines or something like that, because one cousin hates the other cousin and is like, well, I'm going to start my own school with blackjack and hookers. Like,
yeah. Oh, more drama in BJJ than there is in practical shooting.
Correct. Basically, an Omaha rule is when a gym hits 100 members, they split, because that's just what jiu-jitsu does. And so we have, there's probably like 10 jiu-jitsu schools that I'm aware of, and there's only like 3 kickboxing schools within Omaha of any merit. So big difference.
Right. So speaking of the gym, how many clients do you see on average on a day?
Somewhere between, like, on a slow day might be like 10, on a big day might be like 30.
Okay. So do clients like schedule like private sessions, or is it mostly group work?
So it's mainly group work. We offer privates, but like basically once you pay your membership, you can come to any of the hour-long classes that you qualify for. So we have like a women's kickboxing, must be a woman to participate. We have a kids class, and then we have like a fundamentals class, and then like an advanced competition team class. And the advanced competition, basically, like once a coach is like, yeah, you're good, you can come to the advanced class, then you're good. But yeah, so we teach classes mornings and evenings, and we have normally a class has between like 4 to 18 people in it.
Well, that's not bad. So it's probably still got a good ratio of student to teacher ratio. So
Yep.
that's cool. Are you happy where your Muay Thai kickboxing your personal level is in that right now, or?
Yeah, I'm in a weird place because I'm very honest with myself, and like I am a competent intermediate level person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know a lot of the like deep secrets of the sport because I've never needed them because I'm just so much larger than everybody else. So like I tell people, I'm like, I can't teach you head movement because I never used it. I can lean away and I'm safe. I've never had to like slip a punch. So I tell my students, I'm like, my other coaches can teach you this because I have 2 other coaches that work with me, and they are the artists. I am the blunt hammer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I teach a more kickboxing style because as a tall person, that's what I do. And my other coaches, they teach the stances and the more intricate pieces of it. But there's only a couple guys in Omaha that like I would be nervous to spar with, and most of that's just cardio.
Yeah, damn cardio. Rule number 1 of zombie apocalypse. Cardio.
Correct. And as a 300-pound person, cardio is the worst.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I don't blame you on that one. Cardio sucks.
Correct. That's why I started. That was one of the reasons I started kickboxing. Is you can build a lot of cardio punching and kicking things. But as an instructor, you don't really get to participate that often.
Yeah, you just stand there and get punched on a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah. But now you run around with guns. Don't you need cardio for that?
for our 15 feet shuffles.
Yeah.
I will say that cardio helps because when you've stood on a range for 10 hours, 6 hours, it starts to add up. But yeah, I'm not looking to do any of the brutality or the tactical games or the what's the one where it's basically like one course, but you run like the entire range. It's like a either a rifle match or a 2-gun match or something. I don't know. Maybe it might just be at a specific range. But I read about one where like there's a start point and you basically like run up to a bay, shoot that bay. When you're done with it, you just run over to the next bay and you shoot that one. And each bay is like 300 yards away or whatever. And so like that does not interest me in any way, shape, or form. I will ride a golf cart.
Exactly. I had this one inkling in high school that I thought I was going to run cross country, and then I'm like, no, I get cottonmouth. Too bad. I ain't doing that shit.
My favorite thing about the cross country guys is how many of them like get done with it and light up a cigarette immediately.
Yes. Light up a cigarette, and then they're just like, I got to go on a run today, guys. I'm like, yeah, good luck with that. Or they're bean poles, and then they're just allowed to shove everything in their mouth, and it's just like,
yep.
I wish I could eat that. It would go right to my hips. Or my ass. I don't know. It goes right to the gut. But so Jeff, when you got into the sport, did you found it, and what were you shooting? What equipment were you using?
I was using a Smith & Wesson M&P 1.0 with an Apex trigger.
Oh, so you've always been an M&P kind of person then?
Yep, I figured out that they fit my hand, and then I realized there's not that much difference between polymer pistols. I bought them all. I just didn't like any of them.
Yeah, but yeah, you're shooting the Shadow 2s and everything else now, aren't you?
Yep. It took me 4 guns to get there, but yep, I finally got to the Shadow 2.
So do you have palm swells on both sides of your grips, like the big honking ones?
Yeah, the lock bogeys.
Yeah, the only thing that fits your hands, I guess.
Yeah, they fit perfectly. Everyone who bitches and moans about how big they are, I'm like, get bigger hands.
Right, exactly. Just get bigger hands. Or just cut half the pistol off. It's fine. It'll be okay.
Yeah, they came out with a compact for you guys.
Yeah. Everyone was hoping for a Shadow 3, but
right. I'm sitting here going, what are they going to make? Like, what does the Shadow 2 need?
More bling. It needs to be gold plated.
Then it can just be the Shadow 2 Cartel Edition.
There you go. We already got the already got the tax for it. Orange, the blue, the green. It's like,
well, they came out with that like silver plated or like nickel plated one with like the blue stained grips. Mm-hmm. They were like the 85th anniversary edition or something special. Stager dropped one when he was doing all the drop tests and pissing everybody off.
Yeah, that would piss off a lot of people he dropped that one. Although he did drop a staccato too on the ground, and
yeah, but they make more of those.
Yes, this is true. You know what? That's the one thing I'll say about Stager. I wish I had his hair. I don't have much.
That Wisconsin hockey hair.
Yeah, well, and I remember when he had really short hair. I want to think. I don't know. When I got in the sport, did I even know who Ben was, or did I watch Top Shots first? Or yes, Top Shot. Because remember he was on that first season.
Yep.
Coaching them how to use the Beretta.
Yeah.
But I remember he had really short hair at some point, and I was like,
yeah, because I think it's still on one of his books, like Adaptive Performance or Dry Fire. One of the Dry Fire books has his old school short hair picture. Mm-hmm. Now it looks like every hockey player from Wisconsin,
except he has his teeth.
Yeah, minor details.
Minor details. This is true. So, how long were you rocking that? So, when you came in, were you shooting production? That's the first question, I guess.
I want to say I think I was shooting limited because it had an Apex trigger in it, and this was before they allowed the modification of the triggers in like 2019. I want to say, or was that maybe that was a 2020 rule? Basically, I went MMP, and then I went. I might have gone. Did I go to the Shadow? No, I think I went to the Walther Q5, and then I didn't realize it had like a compact grip to start with and a giant fucking mag release. And so I kept pinching the fat on my hand when I would do reloads. And then when I'd reform my grip, the fat on my support hand would hit the mag release and drop the magazine. And by the 7th time that happened, as like I drew the gun, I was like, this gun needs to go. Mm-hmm. Then I went to a Shadow 1 that I bought like a month before the Shadow 2 came out. So that was perfect timing. And then I shot single stack because I make poor decisions. Then I went back to the MMP, put a Burris Fastfire 3 on it, shot carry optics when it switched to the 140 millimeter mags, and then I went Shadow 2.
That's a long, interesting progression there.
Yeah, that's why whenever everyone's like, oh, I want to hop this gun, I want to hop get this gun, I'm like, oh, you're talking to the gun hopper right here. Don't do it. Pick a gun and use that gun.
Yes, exactly. One gun. Be a master of that one gun. Unless you're crazy and just have nothing but money to spend.
Yeah, if you got the money and the time and the autism to practice, go right for it. But I don't.
Yes. Oh, we all have that. We all have some form of tism that makes us require like that. We still want to shoot this thing.
To be in this sport, you require a modicum of tism.
Yes. And to be around longer than that was cool. We can do that next year?
Right. Yeah. You okay, so it's points per second. If I to get this many more points for this many more seconds, I need to do this, and then if my draw is blah blah blah, you're like, tism.
Yep, exact. I never got some people keep asking me the hit factor math. I'm like, this guy's tisms don't require math, right?
Correct. Yes.
I roughly can tell you, but I'm not doing but I know some people, like even some high level GMs, they do the math like that makeup shot's going to cost you half a hit factor. So don't.
If you hang around Lane and Cody long enough, they'll be like, all right, so the hit factor on this stage is probably going to be like a 7.3, like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, how the fuck? Like, just shoot it. Like, why?
Mm-hmm. But I bet they're pretty close with their math.
Oh yeah, no, they're fantastic at it.
Which would be surprising because Cody's a cop. I wouldn't expect him to be good at math.
Yeah, I mean, he's an interesting cop because, like, I don't know, dealing with him at shooting matches, he doesn't come across with the average like annoying cop traits. More of like I really don't want to deal with this cop, which is my favorite kind of cop. It's like, guys, everyone just go home. I don't want to deal with your bullshit.
Yes, exactly. I just don't want to deal with it. I didn't see it. Leave me. I'm not doing anything. I can't see it. Or it's my day off. Fucking leave me alone.
Right. Let's all pretend when I showed up, everyone was shaking hands and everyone fuck off.
Exactly. So, since you've been doing the sport, you've done a plethora of different disciplines, pretty much USPSA, Pro-Am. We don't talk about Steel Challenge because we really can't shoot that in flip-flops.
Done multi-gun of different tastes.
Yeah.
My friends are trying to get me to do a couple other matches styles, but just haven't found the time to do them yet. Yeah, I like shooting guns.
Mm-hmm.
It just tends to be if they can make the match fun enough to want to go back, and 3-gun has failed at that every time I have attempted it.
I don't have the attention span for that. Like, I can barely remember a pistol stage, let alone, I'm going to shoot all this with my pistol, and then I got to go run over here and get a shotgun and go shoot it with a shotgun.
Well, I refuse to own a shotgun unless it's a 590 that I can put a bayonet on. But like Andy has confirmed that my club is the most toxic club that in Area 3, and I wear that with a badge of honor. I contribute to the toxicity. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I'm this beacon of whatever. But our multi-gunners, one of the guys who was like kind of wanting to be like an assistant match director would literally say, I set up the stage to fuck with you 2-gunners, be a man, get a shotgun. And you're like, we are 60% of your match, dude. Like, why the fuck would you do that?
Right. Well, and they're just sad because usually those are pistol option targets, and
yep.
And then you just shoot it really good with a pistol and be like, screw you guys.
Right. And that was the other thing is like, oh, we're gonna fuck with the 2-gunners, and you're like, no. You fucked with the C-class 2-gunners, not the GMs, M's, and A's that still kicked your ass at your sport.
Yes, and that's what they don't realize is like, yeah, we don't need to be good at 3 guns. We just need to.
Well, like we're doing our rifle match, and I was talking to an acquaintance or buddy that he runs the multi-gun matches for my club, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to shoot that rifle match, and like, oh, we're going to keep up with you, and I was like, no, you're not. Like, I touch my rifle 3 times a year. And 2 of those times are when me and Lane are doing what we call tactical abomination training, which is where we take like tactical drills that Pranka or whoever has thrown up, and then we just destroy them and go, oh, this was pointless. And then we put our rifles away for the rest of the year. And so like we had a rifle match. I beat all of the multi-gunners and everybody else with a gun that I shoot twice a year. It's almost like if you shoot carry optics, if you put the dot on the target and you pull the trigger twice and you go to the next target and you put the dot on the target and you pull the trigger twice, it's not really that different.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, exactly. It's nothing super special. But they all think with all this extra crap, and it makes the day, as you say, it takes the day so much longer because you got to do all this stupid shit. You got to clear so many more guns. It's like, I don't have that.
No, and like it, and at least locally to me, it attracts a weird personality type. But like trying to get him to help do anything is like pulling teeth. Like again, the guy running it was like, dude, like I'm going to get them all to help, and like it's going to be great. And now he's like, no one helps me, and no one builds any stages, and no one will RO. And I'm like, do you understand why none of us want to shoot it? Like the USP, like our club, and apparently we're the only club like this. We have a USPSA crowd, we have a Steel Challenge crowd, and we have a multi-gun crowd. There's almost no overlap between the 3. And it's because we are so toxic to each other and we have such bad personalities that we kind of push everybody away.
Yeah. I mean, like, I give props to the people who love Steel Challenge, like the Wotzels. I'm like, yeah. You do you. I think it's most boring thing on the planet.
I do it twice a year, and I feel like that's enough. But at the same time, there are people that will play the same golf course every Sunday or every Saturday from, like till the sun burns out, and you're like, you're playing the same 8 holes, right? But okay.
Yeah, but those people, they get to bet and drink, and they get to ride around on a golf cart, so they really don't care.
I mean, I'm just saying we can make Steel Challenge much closer to this if we grow some balls.
Mm-hmm. Steel Challenge is so boring, though. I'm like, my wife was funny. I'm actually going to a Steel Challenge match Sunday to go hang out with a buddy of mine. So he's like, I got to run it because the guy who normally is running it is at Nationals. So someone has to run the match. I'm like, fair. I guess I'll show up.
Right. Well, and that's why normally it's the Weitzel's being like, hey, we have an open spot in our squad. You're not doing anything. You should show up. Like, okay, fine. I'll join. But like, yeah, it's not my sport. And Todd is 100% correct that they need to add, like, they got 8 stages, add 12 more. Give more variety. Give it so that it's not the same 8 stages that have been shot since what, like 1996 or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, get some variety.
Yes, get some variety in your lives, because Lord have mercy. But there's the people that are the diehard Steel Challenge people that are like, nope, we only want 8 stages. This is exactly what we want. Nothing else. No more.
Yeah, but I think the key phrase there is die, because most of them tend to be very older, and like you have the like 14-year-olds that require their parents to be there so that they can handle a firearm, and then the like 70-year-olds, and there's not a lot in between.
Is it the 70-year-olds who need their children there so they can handle a firearm?
I mean, there's several of them. We've had a lot of conversations around when should some people be done shooting.
Mm-hmm. That's the benefit of the property being different than the match host.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. Yeah, so you run something that I'm very intrigued in is Pro-Am, right?
Yes. The best sport.
Yeah, the dying off, hard to come by sport.
Yep. And so I will say we don't run traditional Pro-Am because we don't because like the Pro and the Am are supposed to be linked together, and there's a whole thing. Like, I don't understand it. I don't care. Basically, ours is a part-time falling steel match with a hard mode and a newbie mode, and I think it's the most fun. It's the most punishing, and for some reason, a lot of newbies show up to it, I have to tell them like, hey, this is you showed up to hard mode. Even playing on easy, you're still playing hard mode. Like, it's the most fun because it tests you to be at your level the whole time. Like, there's no game, there's not a lot of gaming to it. It is shoot your ability in a calm, reasonable manner, and you should do well. It's when you go miss that you're like, ruh-roh, how many bullets do I have left in the gun? That's when it starts getting spicy.
Yeah, because it's only 10 round. And that's the cool thing, right? I remember when I came into the sport watching Hot Shots on YouTube, that YouTube series back in the day.
I've watched that many a times. That was a great series.
That's what we need to get back to. I would think that'd be really cool to televise it like that, right? Like,
make it a story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like watching Max go for the Triple Crown one year, and then the next year was World Shoot, right? Like,
yep,
that was super cool. And we need someone who wants to do that again, kind of thing. I don't know if we can pick it up on a big network or YouTube or social media would be great for it.
Well, the sport as a whole does a very poor job of selling itself in the modern realm, and I don't think it's because of guns. I think it's because we're bad at marketing ourselves. But
because we think it's about the guns. That's the part.
Right. It's not about the guns. It's about other things. But going back to the Hot Shots and Pro-Am, like, that was a great like selling of the sport, because it's 10 round mags. There's open and irons. That's it. And PCC, but that's a whole other conversation. Like, I would remove PCC if given the choice, but my matches don't fill up, so I don't have that ability. But it's knock down as many plates as possible. It's simple. It's broadcastable. It's easy to understand. Like, you have this amount of time to accomplish this task. Go.
Yeah, it is, and it as a member of the the squad, you can tell, they did awesome because they have 2 plates left up,
Yep.
or oh well, they fucked up. There's 6 plates still standing up.
Oh yeah, and you tend to know they fucked up by about like the second miss. You're like, well, this one didn't go well.
Yeah. So, and on average, how many rounds are you doing per stage in a pro-am match?
So that's kind of the nice thing is, it's kind of based on how much steel you have, like as a club. But we have one that we call our baseball stage. That one tends to be 24 rounds, but most of them tend to be sub 20, just because carting out that much steel, and then like most people won't clear it. Like when I set the times, my assumption is that you don't get to the last plate, and that's okay. Like one of the mindsets people get into, like, oh, I didn't clear it, and you're like, that's fine. I gave you a mountain or a quantity of targets. You engaged as many as you could in the time given. I could put out 100 targets and then give you a 5-second part time, and I'm just seeing how many you could get. Like I'm just like, it's more that I just didn't want to cart out that much steel.
And I'm assuming you only use falling steel or plate, like poppers and plates.
Yep. So for Pro-Am, there's a tiebreaker stage, which really doesn't matter, especially at the local level. But that one is shot for time, because before we implemented the Pro and Am times, we would set the times more towards the Am time and just have one timer for everybody. And so the tiebreaker would mean something, because when A class and above are all clearing it, and there's 7 A class and above guys at the match, like the tiebreaker matters. But that one will set up steel challenge plates and then shoot it as action steel, just to save falling poppers for other stages.
That's pretty cool. That is definitely something that is not done a lot of places, and it's very intriguing. I wish that my club had more steel.
Well, and one thing I think I brought it up before, but like, you can shoot the same stage twice. Like I know steel's expensive and not a lot of clubs have like a ton of it, but depending on how many people you have, you could literally set up one bay and just have like, okay, you're only shooting the right in front array for this run, and this will be the part time, and then on this one you're going to be the left and the right array, but it's going to be this time, because the time is what makes Pro-Am interesting. Because you could literally just put like 8, 8, and 8 out there, but if you're like, okay, you're starting in the middle and you have 6 seconds, okay, and you're like, okay, or let's say you put like 12 in the middle, but 8 and 8 on either side, and you give them like a 6-second part time. If you're slow, you might be like, you know what, I'm not even going to make it to those other boxes, so I'm just going to go bing, 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 bing with the 10 rounds I have, reload and see what I can do in the middle. Or you take the middle, try to run over, do the reload, get the other 8. Like, there are options to run a 1 or 2 bay Pro-Am, depending on how many people. Like if you only have 10 people at the match or 12 people at the match, like you can just have one squad and just manipulate it that way.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot more, especially if you're testing the waters and see who wants to actually show up for it.
Yep.
Be like, okay, we have 3 squads worth of people. We could set up 3 bays and flip flop them, and then tell people, hey, we need to go buy more steel because this is actually fun.
Yep.
That's a good way of doing it. And we've been running out of so there's nothing like around us. There's nothing that happens like on like 2 weeks from our match. So there's nothing really going on around us. So it's like, oh, maybe we could try a new match. So maybe I'll try running a Pro-Am on one of these off weekends and see how it goes. So
excellent.
But so you right now you're fine. You're a master, correct?
Yep.
So currently, what are your goals in practical shooting right now?
The honest truth is my goal is to just keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I might make Grandmaster. I've found a new gear lately that surprised me for how little I believe I've been practicing. My buddy Steven and Nick will punch me in the side of the head if I keep saying I don't practice. But it's more just finding the joy again, finding the want to keep doing it, because standing in dirt pits shooting guns is kind of fun, but like it kind of gets old after a while.
Mm-hmm. Right. Now, do you just feel like you're kind of burning out on just the frequency, or is it the losing like the focus or the drive?
I think it's a little bit of losing a goal, losing the drive, because like our sport doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like as a masterclass shooter, to put it in perspective, I'm amongst the top probably 2,500 best shooters of all human history. Like if you think about it, what do I have to gain? What does that extra 5% gain me? Like, okay, now I'm a grandmaster. Cool. Like, yay. And it's like, I shoot with Lane. I shoot when Cody's able to shoot. I'm shooting against very high level competition, so I'm even like winning local matches isn't really in the cards for me that often.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm not with Nils and Seiler basically flying to area matches and even section matches. Like I'm not winning anything, and even if I won, like whoop-de-doo, like that. One of the things that I talk to about people is it's like I can I've talked to a chief of police for I live in a small town that Omaha gobbled up, but it still has its own police force. It's a whole thing. And I was like, oh hey, like I'd love to like train your guys, like or like help your guys. And they're like, we shoot tactically. We don't need you. And I was like, okay, cool. Like that. Like our ability is so meaningless that gaining more of it there's no outside purpose to it. So like my goal, as I said, the goal in my sport is to make friends, keep friends, hang out with friends. Like I look forward to the night before the match more than I do the match.
Right. Yeah, it's because you go get your drink before the match, and then you're like, all right, let's go on no sleep. Let's go.
That's when I shoot the best. I shot 90% at Eggleston at like drinking and staying up till 2:00 in the morning. So like, let's fucking go, boys.
Yeah. Eggleston is an interesting character, especially since he hasn't been in the sport that long.
Yeah. Yeah. Like 2 years or 2.5 years. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm just like top 20 at nationals or whatever, or top 25. And you're like, get fucked.
Right. Well, it's that e-gamer that he was for so long.
Right. He is an expert at putting dot on thing and hitting button.
Yes. Just like your trigger. Just like a mouse pad.
Yep. It's no difference.
Mm-hmm. But it's cool to see people. I love seeing people's progression, right? More probably than my own progression. I like watching other people crush it.
Yeah.
And that's always the fun part is like you see, what the hell did I do? I hit a button, end of the world. But you see people go up like I remember watching people when they first started. I'm like, man, like you guys are crushing this. Like I'm happy for your performance.
I'm slightly bitter, but I draw a level of self-worth from my shooting, and now that like Steven and Nick and several other guys are catching up to me, it's like, oh fuck, like I can't just coast as the guy behind Cody and Lane, like shit. So I actually have to like get my shit together one of these days.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm kind of bad about it. Like I shoot with my friends, we go to have a good time, but when I crush a stage or I kick someone's ass, I'm just like the Triple H, arms up, like crossed over the crotch. I'm like, suck it, motherfucker. And they're like, and then I tell them it's okay. You'll do good next time.
Oh, I've learned not to brag, because the second I start bragging, like I was at a match in Iowa, and I like guy got a mic or he got like a Delta, and I'm like, oh haha, I was just supposed to hit the middle. Da da da. I threw a mic, and I was like, God damn it. He goes, oh, where's that fucking Delta? Da, da. And I was like, shut up. So I've learned not to talk shit because it always comes back to bite me in the ass.
I haven't been bit too bad yet, but it's usually only with my good friends that I'm there on the squad with. I'm just, well, and we all shoot the same division, right? So we're all open shooters, and I'm just like, they're like, you sandbagger. I'm like, I've got hard. It's hard to class up sometimes just on classifiers. So I'm just like,
Yeah.
especially when you it's really weird around here. We hardly shoot classifiers as it is. We're not in any rebellion like state or clubs. Like there's no real rebellion, but it's like we shoot a classifier match a year at certain clubs, and then every other time it's a 7-stage field course match. And I'm like, I'm okay with this because it's 7 field courses instead of a classifier and some crappy stages. So
Yeah.
because usually it takes all the effort to put a classifier up. So, but so
Yeah,
it's really hard to
they're
shoot
pain.
classifiers in the year, and I'm just like, oh fuck. So they're like, you're beating us too bad. I'm like, not my problem. Get better.
Yeah, be better, scrubs.
And they know it, and I don't try to beat them up too bad most of the time when it's like during the match. I'm just like, oh man, that sucks. You mic'd 3 targets, and I'm like, but why? What were you doing? Well,
Right,
the gun was moving, and then you get them to dialogue it, and
Right, and that's where my autism kicks in. Is like, I found that when I give people shit, I get too mean too quickly, and so I don't want to be mean to my friends. So I'm like, oh man, like he probably doesn't want to be talked to, so I'm just gonna move along and not mention it. And then like if they're like sulking or whatever, I'll be like, hey, like da da da, let's get back on the next stage. I'm like, I'm a terrible shit talker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the question is, when Lane has a bad day, do you rub it in his face?
Fuck no, absolutely not. He's a brick shit house. Like I don't. You're not allowed to talk to him like 3 people before he shoots, regardless of the like importance of the match. But like if he has a bad day, I give him space because he can hurt people.
This is true. He is a brick shit house. But he needs that on the back of his t-shirt. I'm a brick shit house, and don't talk to me 3 shooters away.
Yes. So he fucked a stage one time. I forget exactly what like he had like 2 mics on like 25 or 30 yard targets or something. Like he was pissed, and this woman, a guy's wife, like went up to like talk to him, and I'm like, no, and I didn't. Like he was like, oh yeah, okay, cool, and like he just sulked off, and I was like, yeah, don't talk to him right now. He's in angry mode.
Angry bear mode, where he just doesn't want to talk to nobody.
Right. Like I've had those stages like at Area 3 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They had this like swinging plate stage on Bay 1, and I royally fucked it like hard, like lost like 7 seconds on it. And I have a rule that like I believe you should get all the emotion out. You shouldn't hold it in. And like Michelle Weitzel, she's one of my best friends. I was walking off stage. She's like, hey, and I was like, bup. I'm going to go to the parking lot, and I'm going to throw a tantrum, and I'll be back. And I just went out there, and I yelled a little bit, and I let the energy out, and I came back, and she's like, you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I let it out. Like, we good.
And that's good. And that's good to have people in your network that just know you and that you're just allowed to do such.
Yep.
Because I mean, there are some people who don't know enough about everybody, and they're like, they're not being nice. They need a 10-6.
I mean, I was like last minute match director or something, and I was in like our local super squad, so it was like me and Lane and Joel and a couple other people, whatever. And they weren't pasting, and I was like, guys, if we don't fucking pace, we don't fucking move on from the stage. Like, get the fuck out there. And Lane walked over to me and goes, so do you need like a hug or like, what's up, dude? And I was like, shut up, go paste.
Oh, it gets bad. Like locally, I'm like, okay, one shooter with like one or two, like one other person out there, I'm like, okay, I can understand this, right? Like we got a smaller-ish squad, I can understand one shooter. But when it gets to like the second or third shooter this happens, I'm like, this is not okay, guys. I should, if I'm running the timer, I should not have to have a paster gun in my other hand.
Right. someone unfortunately has to be the dad that is like, I said we pace the targets, and you learn to like, I mean, you got to be kind of the bad guy and be like, you, and you. Here's pacer guns. Get the fuck out there. Like, get to work.
Yeah. And I love new shooters. Mind you, I love new shooters, but when it comes to like the pasty part, it's like, all right, your first stage, I'll give you a break. You figure out how the stage of this flows, right? And this is how this goes. Somebody shoots, we score it, we paste it, we move on, the next person goes. So you get about you get one stage worth of learning. After that, it's you better have pasters in your hand or
Yep. Yeah, and that's encouraging that early and often, and being, again, not being a dick, but being like, hey guys, let's get out and pace, like making sure that, the loading of mags doesn't take 4 shooters. Or if you're an open shooter, don't disassemble every one of your mags, even if you didn't touch the ground.
Oh, my mags touch the ground and I don't. I'm like, okay, empty them, make sure I get to the bottom, I see the follower, and then just start jamming bullets back in.
Good. You're a good open shooter. Like, we have several at my club that will fully disassemble the mag, and I'm like, I will stab you. Like, you've spent $7,000 on a gun, buy enough mags to shoot the entire match. It's a 5-stage local.
This is true. So I'm even special. I have 2 big sticks that I'll use. And so the first stage, I'll use big stick number 1. And then I'll set it on the cart. And then for the second stage, as soon as I get done, I swap out that mag. And if I do a reload, the other mag. And then I will swap out for my 2 spare sticks, a short stick and a big stick, put them on my belt, and I can shoot the next stage no matter what. And then I just load up the other mag when I've got time. Usually what I like to do is I like to encourage everyone to be like, let's load our mags when we're all done with the stage. We'll take an extra 3 minutes and then go there.
Right. That's a great idea too, because everyone, we all find ways to slack on work. I'm going to be honest with you. I hate resetting. So I run the timer in the tablet, like, because that's a job that's got to be done. And I'm like, the second I get done, I've literally handed the timer off to shoot, and then gotten done shooting and taken the tablet from the tablet guy, because it's just like, hey, like, these jobs need to get done. I prefer to do these over resetting. As long as I'm doing a job, I feel like I'm being useful. I just don't like pasting targets.
Yeah, I will paste a target far more than picking up steel. Picking up steel is like,
okay. Here's what I'm gonna throw it out here. Everyone needs to get steel picker uppers. You put a handle on a piece of rebar, bend it at the bottom, and you can just reach down and pick them up. This is why hinge steel is best steel. The fall down ones that Andy loves, because you don't have to calibrate them. They're fucking, I hate them. I despise them. Give me hinge steel that I can pick up with a little pickup fork.
Mm-hmm. So I got a neodymium magnet, like what you'd find on like a double alpha pouch or something.
Yeah.
And I put it on a paracord because I saw somebody do this with an eyelet. So I was like, oh, cool. So yeah, I thwack it down on these mini poppers and it pulls them right up.
Yeah.
The when you use a large popper every once in a while, you're like, fuck this. I still got to bend over and pick you up. And I'm just like,
yep.
But yeah, it's steel. I hate picking up steel. That's just like, even if it's the hinge steel or it's in its like a base, it's just like, I don't want to pick you up. That's bending over.
Correct.
And that'd be really cool if we had like popper bases that just you could hit a button on the side and it would be like,
me and Andy talked about this. I don't know if you know the rule or not. I was told that there's like an old rule that says you can't use like electronic resetting poppers because of some bullshit 90s rule or something. I 100% agree with you. Another quick solution is we have they're like 8-inch steel circles on pedestals, and so they just fall over on the pedestal, and so you just walk over and lift them up because the pedestal's like 3 feet high. Those are fantastic. The only problem is open shooters that shoot the base and it falls down, technically, according to USPSA rules, have a reshoot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's yeah. And this is another reason why people like the old RM cores, like, plates belong at dinner, not in matches.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh my god. Thank you for watching another episode of Manny Talks Shooting. I greatly appreciate it. And if you could do me a favor, go check out our sponsors when you are available. We've got D2 Custom Guns, Hunter's HD Gold, Go Fast Don't Suck, Outdoor Dynamics, Make Stuff Better, 2 Alpha Apparel, RangePanda.com, Summit City Bullets, Laugh and Load, Southern Bobby Q, and the Tom Castro Shooting Academy. Now let's get back to this awesome episode.
It's a conservative mindset. Everything we do has this very conservative, like, well, this worked in 1964, so why should we change anything? The 1911 was the perfection of handguns in 113 years ago. Like, we don't need nothing different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or they're the old guys who don't even shoot the match anymore. They just show up to work it, which I love them to death when they do that. But it's like you get stuck talking to the chrono guys, and you're just like, oh my lord, I'm going to be here for another 10 minutes, aren't I?
Yep. Because it's a social event for them. It's a reason for them to wake up. My buddy Nolan, he's at a club in Georgia, and they specifically are like, yeah, we try to give these people a purpose, a thing to do to help run the match, because what else are they going to do? But it does lead to, well, this is what we've always done, and herp. Like, when my club is like a central point of the rebellion, quote unquote, and when Todd wrote the Hit Factor rule book, we had a local guy that was like, hey, Todd, can you send me a copy of that? And Todd was like, why? You haven't shot a match in 2 years. Like, why the fuck do you want the rule book? And they just want to butt their nose into everything, and they want to have an opinion. And like a friend of mine, or no, I was listening to a podcast that was talking about this, and they think that it's like an evolutionary thing of like, get the information out to people. Is like, old people are just like, I've lived 75 years. I need to communicate this because we're supposed to die at 35. And so it's like built into their evolutionary response. Must tell all stories to everyone within a 15-foot radius.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and yeah, like they want to be involved, and Lord have mercy. Sometimes this is like old people.
More harm than good.
Yes, more harm than good. But, you know, and sometimes you really can't do without them. Like, no young person wants to work chrono. Like,
right. And I ran into that again. Not I can get into the drama, but like, I had a guy local to me that we went to dinner after Cornhusker a couple years ago, and he's like, you know what, we need. I wish like this person didn't RO, and I was like, are you going to? Because you didn't RO this match. Like, you had other things you wanted to do, so you just named half the ROs at the match. Who are you replacing them with?
Yeah, there's nobody in their right mind anymore wants to volunteer.
Well, because I mean, you get the abuse There's no profit incentive for you. It's like, oh, cool, I shot a free match, and maybe like if you're local, maybe your gas gets covered. I mean, our club is nice enough. They give you, like $100 or whatever for working it. But like, standing out in the dirt pit for 8 hours, and then it kind of sucks.
Yeah, it does. Like, I'm lucky enough. Like, I work enough matches. Like, I get a free match. Like, they cover me some meals at the range, and then my hotel gets covered because my wife goes and works with me too. If I didn't, I had a room by myself. Guess what? I get to pay half of that. So
right.
I still lose money no matter what. But I do it. I don't work matches for the money.
Right. And the problem is that, when does volunteerism stop?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems that nowadays everyone wants to just shoot the match, which I can understand. I would love to just shoot a major every once in a while.
Right. Well, and then you get into like, my favorite was, there was some conversation around like prize tables and cash payouts for shooters, and the dude that I saw post about it was an Army marksmanship shooter. I'm like, motherfucker, you're paid by the government to go shoot matches. Fuck off.
Oh yes, and I saw this, and I deal with like a couple of the matches in my area. I'm part of one of the guys who kind of makes things happen behind the scene for the match. So I'm just like, what do all the rest of you think about this? And they're just like, they all just downed on him. But it's like, I didn't disagree with them, but the way they were disagreeing with it didn't work because they weren't really willing to listen on any of it. But it was like, yeah, you want to sell that gun that you won on the prize table for more money.
Right. And
your trip's comped anyway because it's a work expense.
Right. And that was the other part. Like, if if you're going to do a prize table, if you're going to do a cash payout, it should only be to those who are eligible for that match. So if you're at a section match, you must be a section member to win any of the awards or any of the prizes. You must be an area match member, because if not, everyone should get on their knees in front of Christian Seiler, Nils Jonasson, whoever the heat is at that match, and go, "Here you go, GM. Thank you for blessing us with your presence." And
Here's
just pay
$5.
right, pay them direct, like make it come out of your hand. Like I want you to have to walk up to them and give it to them as like a thank you for being here, because that's who's getting paid. Like I can at every match I can make you a list of who's going to get paid. Like you already know the GMs and masters that are getting paid.
Right. Now, yeah. And one thing when they're like, "Oh, we want to do a prize table," I'm like, "Do you want to be here till 9:00 tonight on Sunday when you got to work tomorrow?"
Correct.
And I still got to drive 3 hours home. Like, you don't understand. Like, some of us want to leave, but
Right.
So in Area 3, before the Rebellion, or even the Hit Factor Championships this year, as soon as shooting was over, did people all just bail?
Yeah.
So it's normal. It's not just over here, because that's how it is over here.
No. So we did like a little. So I'll speak for Cornhusker.
Mm-hmm.
Cornhusker, we do Todd has it set up so that when you check in, you draw a lottery, a ping pong ball with a number on it. That number corresponds to the prize that you get. So he believes, I'm not putting words in his mouth, I'm quoting him directly. He says that your $100 match fee is the same as everybody else's $100 match fee. So you walk up, you pull a ping pong ball, whatever number's on that ping pong ball is the prize you get.
Mm-hmm.
End of equation. So prize table's done before the match even starts. Then he does, like, we tear everything down, and after everything's torn down, we do like a little quick, like, whoever's still there, we're like, okay, grab a beer, and this person won this award, this person won this award. We do like a mini award ceremony, done. Mm-hmm. And luckily, with how efficient we've been doing our matches, we were home by 5 or 6. So
that's not terrible then.
Yep. So that's how it worked there. And I shot Minnesota Hit Factor, and that one they were basically like, "Hey, tear these three stages down. Like, thanks for coming out," which is perfectly fine. Like I was more than content with just being like, "Okay, I'm done shooting the match. Let's get on because it was a 6-hour drive home, so I was not going to stay around for very long."
Yeah, and it just drags it on, right? Especially when you want to go out to eat afterwards, and it's like, I don't have all day for this, guys.
Well, and that's kind of one of those elements to the sport that if we do want to keep people and we want to grow the sport, we need to encourage the social element of it. Mm-hmm. And so it needs to be, hey guys, we're going to be done shooting the match at 4. We're going to go to said pizza place or whatever at 6. You can stay if you want, whatever, but like we need to have social gatherings and like reasons to be social to continue the sport, because like you said about golf, it exists because people can be social, drive golf carts, and drink beer. Mm-hmm. We technically can't let people drink beer for all of it, but we need to have those social elements to keep people in the sport.
Oh, 100%. I'll like, my goal is match is done. We cleaned it up. My crap's all packed up. Where's lunch? Like, yep. That's
it really is. Like, I have a rule. I want to be match starts at 9. I want it done by noon. And then we go to a local place in Louisville, have food there, chit chat, whatever. Everyone goes home. Like, mm-hmm. And just make it so that, yeah, you are like, just like I said about major matches, I look forward to them because I'm going to go out to dinner the night before and have dinner and drinks with my friends, and then maybe like chill in the hotel at the hotel bonfire or in the Airbnb, whatever, and then shoot the match. We had our social moment, go home, but yeah, that social element I think is the important part, that because our sport is dominated by autists that we don't recognize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the social, and it's so, because you meet great people at these things, and yeah, you can't go out to dinner with everybody, but I always try, like over like a 5-day match. Like if I got to be there the day before staff shoots, because you got to do RM walkthroughs, all that crap. You always end up going out to dinner with some people, so I always try to make sure my dinner group is a little bit different each night.
Yep.
So I'm like, I get to see these friends that don't necessarily deal with these friends.
Yeah. And it's the friends we make along the way. Like I have friends in cities and states that I don't even remember. Or like my buddy Mark, like I joked about it on the show. I didn't remember where I met him until he was like, "Oh yeah, dude, it was Area 3." And like meeting Mark was because of a Instagram comment by a GM from Texas made on one of my posts, and I was like, "Next time I see you, we're giving the highest of high fives." Cool. I see him, Mark's with him. Now we're friends. And I look forward to when I see Mark. And so like it's one of those you never know where you're going to meet like crazy people. Like I wrestled Craig Tappy like the first time I met him, not realizing that he was like top 20 open shooter in the nation. And but like he was drunk and I was big and we were watching UFC and he's like, "Let's try that." And we like got in the grass and started wrestling, and the waitresses came over and like, "Are you guys mad at each other?" And I was like, he was trying, and I was like, "No, we're good. Like, but yeah, you meet fun people, and then every match is like, "Oh, I get to see. I'm going to Iowa. I get to see Ross and Craig and Ben and the gang."
Yeah, it's all about where you go and who you get to see, and because sometimes there's some people who only go shoot their 1 or 2 really close majors, and
yeah.
In locals are really where the sport's made, but it's the friendships I think you make at these big matches that you get to see people, and it makes it more fun.
Well, and it's especially because the majors are where if you're at a major you travel to, you're meeting other people who are there taking it seriously. Versus your local, it might meet a lot of nice people, but they might be like, "Yeah, I shoot 3 locals a year. This is the only rounds I fire out of pistol the entire time." And you're like, "We aren't shooting the same sport, or we're not doing the same hobby. Like you are out here putzing around, shooting, moving around, and that's good for you." But like, again, I'm blessed with my club is like, I have like 5 or 6 dudes that are like, we are here to train seriously and be very good at the sport. And so like we are playing a different game than the hobbyist.
This is so true, yes. And everyone comes at it at a different level. It's either the social interaction, the hobby, or they're actually in the sport. They call it a sport, right? And yes, I mean I'm kind of lazy most of the time. I dry fire occasionally because I'm like, I should really pick up my gun. The match is tomorrow.
Yep.
Because I remember when I first started, it was every day, 30 to 40 minutes a day, and I'm just like, nah. I'm like, I follow the Mason Lane kind of methodology. I dry fire when I feel like it. And that's about it. I might fiddle fart with my gun twice a day, just picking it up, moving it, racking it. But yeah,
all my guns are broken.
Or are your guns fine and you're just broken?
Porque lo dos.
Yes. So, damn chair. I have this really cool office chair, Matt, but it still sucks to move around and get close to the microphone. First world problems, right?
Exactly.
So before I'm going to forget to do these if I don't do these now. So I'm going to pull up the listener questions. So a couple different people threw these in, mostly from Mark, our friend Mark, who does have really good stickers. Though I did get some stickers from him the last time I saw him at Carry Optics Nationals. But I'm going to read these verbatim from Mark because it says, "Jeff, you have a pocket Asian. Who is it going to be?"
I mean, it's going to be my buddy Nolan. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's going to be you, Mark. Nolan's too tall.
Nolan's too tall. That's too funny. Before I forget this, Kenny still shoots open, right? Joel's friend Kenny.
No.
Does he shoot Carry Optics or did he quit?
He doesn't shoot. The only times I have seen Kenny in the last 2 years were in Joel's Instagram posts.
Okay, so he must just be hanging out with Joel then.
He's a tattoo artist. His books closed during COVID, and then they opened back up, and so he's making buku buck, and he doesn't seem to have the interest that he used to have for it. So,
fair enough. So then Mark asked, "What brand milk do you drink growing up?"
2%. I don't know. My favorite fun fact is that when I was younger, I don't remember if it was the ADHD meds or I almost died when I was a baby, and I took these meds to help counteract a RSV infection, and one of the side effects was stunting growth, and so that apparently didn't work. But I just ate everything.
Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with that. Food is good. So then Mark asked to be a smart ass and ask, is the air thinner up there versus normal people?
It is. And next time I see you, I'm going to make sure it's raining down on you.
When is the next time you actually get to see Mark?
He says he's going to come up and shoot our rifle match. So maybe October.
Oh, there you go. This is a great one. What is the worst gun product that you have ever purchased?
Oh, that worst gun product that I purchased. I mean, oh man, it's got to be like some of the dumb holsters and dumb like tactard shit I bought. Like when you first start out and you're like, oh yeah, this is going to be a great idea, and you're like, no, you retard, that was a terrible idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had a I think it was a Dara holster for my 5-inch M&P with a light, and it was just this Kydex bucket, and it was like I couldn't carry it anywhere but like 4 o'clock, like almost behind my hip because it was so goddamn big. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I buy a lot of dumb shit that I then forget about because ADHD is fun.
Right. Well, why not buy everything? You got to buy everything.
Correct. Dopamine highs. Whoop, whoop.
Oh, ooh, I bought some. I get the most excitement out of a package. I know when a package is going to arrive. I'm like, I look forward to that all day. Like at work,
Yep.
Oh yeah, I got a package coming. I got a package coming. It could be the stupidest little thing from Amazon. I'm like, I got a package coming.
Yep.
That's what gives me the fizz, right? Like, be like, I get to open it, and then the high's gone. I'm like, oh, it's open,
right?
It's here. I mean, I get to do the thing I needed it for, but still, yeah. Oh, package.
Mine doesn't really make it to that point. It's more like, oh yeah, that thing for the task, executive function disorder, whee! And then I go off and do something else.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Oh, trust and believe. Like I'll go downstairs or like onto the workbench and be like, oh, I'm gonna go down here and go do this thing, right? Side tangent. Oh, what was I doing down here? Oh, I guess I'm gonna start cleaning this nook over here now.
Yep.
I'm really good with lists. Lists are good. If you give me a list, I can accomplish the list pretty quickly. But when I don't have the list, that's the problem.
See, even lists don't do it for me. I'm like, oh, well, if I just leave that list there, I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I'm just like over analyzing everything. Well, I have everything done on the list. I should add more to the list.
Yep.
Or I get way too ahead of myself. I'm like, oh, why am I worried about this? This is still 3 months out. I don't need to worry about this problem.
Oh yeah. Yep. Been there, done that.
I mean, which probably makes me a really good like person to help run matches because I'm thinking of all these things way ahead of time, so we're not doing them last minute.
Yep.
But it's also like, dude, it's January. No one's gonna think about this right now.
Correct.
But chrono bags could be put together now, guys. Like that. Oh my lord. So not to bash on any matches, but it's like that is one thing that should not happen at the match or during like setup of the match. That should be you're sitting on your couch watching television in the middle of winter, like just having chrono bags ready.
Yeah. Yes. There's many things that can be done January 1st. Like we intend to get drunk and design all of the stages for Cornhusker sometime in the winter.
That does sound fun. Or an ugly Christmas sweater party and you design stages.
Correct.
Although I bet Michelle would have a fire ass fucking sweater though.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Or she'd print a jersey that looks like a bad that would be cool. Like a jersey that looks like a really bad Christmas sweater, but really cool.
I mean, that would I would sell the shit out of those because you're like, oh yeah, here's my ugly sweater,
and then you're comfy, and then you could actually can you roll in anything that well, you don't roll, you do Muay Thai, kickbox. Do you wear Michelle's stuff when you kickbox?
Yeah, that's why whenever anyone gives her like, oh, these things aren't durable, I'm like, I literally fight full grown human beings in them, like they're durable.
Mhm. And I don't think I think there's probably maybe one brand of shirt. Like if you snag it on something on the range, it won't mess up because it's just woven differently.
Yep.
But the rest of them are all going to catch on something like and
Yep.
snag. I mean, it's inevitable. It's
Yep.
probably happened to all my shirts with all my 2011 grips.
Oh yeah, your grips, the Velcro for your
The belt,
inner belts, and
that's the worst. I hate that. And just like the shirt was tucked in fine. Why did you get caught in my belt? You stupid shirt.
right, or like a sharp part of your base pad rubs up against it, or you catch a side of a wall that's covered in splatter.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's the one thing. That's my biggest pet peeve, I think, is like people who shoot like design stages and I'm shooting a stage and I'm like, bro, this wall is getting like, I'm not touching that wall when we tear down today. Nope.
Correct.
I don't even care. I bring gloves. I'm not touching it.
Yep.
Why? Do not look at the wall that's now destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what saves those? Barrels. Barrels will save the wall. The barrel is sacrificial. Although it seems like it's harder to get more barrels nowadays than it was.
Yeah, they're not as easy, and the 3-gunners fuck them up.
Oh Lord, just like yes. Well, where was I? Oh, I was in a random club I go to once a year because it's like 3 hours away from my house, and I'm just like, all right, I'll go here once a year with we'll get in a car and we'll drive there. And I'm like, these barrels are destroyed because they blast them with shotgun BBs.
Yep,
everywhere, and it's like, Lord, no good, no good.
Nope. Do we have more questions?
No, I think that was all the questions that made sense to me. So
gotcha.
So, but yeah, that's all those questions. I do have a few more questions, and then because it is almost our time to pinch it off and have it a good one. Oh, this is a good question I haven't asked. I didn't even think about it till now. What made you and I've listened to every show other than the one that dropped today because I'm a junkie and I listen to podcasts. And
yeah.
When I find a good one I like, I kind of binge watch them all. But what made you and Andy decide to start it up?
I remember us talking about it like years before, and it was basically him being like, "Hey, I do this podcast. You should be on it." And that was his Andy's Things and Stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, he's like, well, I think even before that, we were talking about doing a shooting podcast. And I'm like, hell yeah, dude. I'm an opinionated person. I like when people listen to me. Let's go. And like, I'm very surprised that anyone listens to us. But that was kind of the genesis of it, is he has experience doing it. He is the driver behind most of it. I am the, what do they call it? The personality, or I'm the helper. Like I gather stories, come up with ideas, and then he does all the technical stuff and gets it posted and all that stuff. And so the talent, I think I just show up and talk. So
yeah,
I enjoy
it. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's always a good thing too, is when you have two people, and I love doing. So I like doing solos. I like having someone with me, right? And this is why I like having a conversation. It's not just me listening to myself talk after I edit it,
right?
But it makes it easier, right? And I'll even do it like tomorrow. I do a live show, and tomorrow is with my buddy Corey, and I think we're having Jay Slater on as our special guest.
Okay,
but it's nice to be able to not have to talk the whole time, and you're just like, oh yeah, you keep talking. I'm going to pull up the story that we found like earlier and move on with ourselves. And you and Andy make a good dynamic because Andy's Andy, and you both have your own different personality traits, and it makes it interesting to listen to. It's not like you're talking to two Andys.
That's good to hear.
All right.
Yeah, because we are vastly different people, and so it gives a different perspective. Because to not violate your rule, but like we are not both conservative males from the small Midwestern town, blah, 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 blah. Like we have very different worldviews and experiences and interests and all. Like we recorded a hunting episode because I've never been hunting. And he's like, I'm going to educate you on this. I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'll sit there and listen to you talk about that. And he lets me go on my little rants about historical events. And so, yeah, we just hand off expertises.
Yeah, well, I think one of the best episodes was probably the one that was forever. It was the We Ask a Democrat questions, like
Yeah.
that was a great one. I'm like, okay, so Jeff gets to talk about all these things, which is fine, and it's like it's a good perspective, right, from somebody who enjoys the same sport and hobby that everyone else does who's listening to it.
Right. I can use the right terminology. Like you don't get hung up on the little like they just called a suppressor a silencer. Like how dare they? It's like no, I'm I'm from amongst you. We can have a logical conversation about like it's kind of the not a 0 or 1. I can find a middle ground where I'm like, could it be a 0.4 or does it need to be a 0.6? Like, let's figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Well, and yes. Oh, like on so many people, it's so interesting. So many people like that person said clip. I know it's going to bother you. I'm like, no, I just get to ignore you, and I understand what you're talking about. It's not the right word. I'm like, I don't care at this point. You and I are talking about the same thing.
Right. It's the intellectual gatekeeping that you shut down a conversation by like destroying the language being used when you know what they mean. Mm-hmm. And like the nerdy side of me is like, clip is a accepted terminology from the American government for 70 years that they were used interchangeably. So suck a dick.
Yep, exactly. And it's like I it's not worth dying on. So I like, especially like when I'm at my day job, and then we talk about that kind of stuff, and it's like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Go to this website, you'll find them.
Yep.
But yes. So here's I guess one of my last questions I have before we wrap this thing up is, what does your make ready look like?
Stick mag and gun, rack gun, drop hammer, put in holster, look at the RO and go, I'm better than them. And that's my make ready.
Well, at least you're honest about it. Like most people are like I've seen some, and we've all seen these people who have the ridiculous make readies, right? Like where they're going to draw the gun 30 times. And
yep. And they're going to air gun the stage 3 times. And then they're going to like rack it. And then they're going to drop the hammer. Then they're going to take that mag out. Then they're going to put the next mag in for like a 12 round all paper stage. And you're like, was that completely necessary? Like you could have just jammed that mag and like, let's go.
I am one of those people. I will always Barney. It doesn't really matter how many rounds the stage is.
And we all get into habits, but yeah, I'm a like jam mag in, rack that bitch. Like I sometimes even drop the hammer so hard that I'm like, ooh, I need to be more careful with that. And then like holster it up, and I'm like, let's go. And it catches, especially if I'm stuck on like a super squad, like it will catch the ROs off guard because they're like, oh, you're ready? I'm like, yeah. Like I don't. Like I knew what I need to do. Like Andy shits on me for not visualizing it, and I'm like, I visualized it. I'm going there. I'm doing that. I'm going there. I'm doing that. And I'm going there. And I'm doing that. End of equation.
Yeah. There's so many different ways of doing it, and it's nice to see, and you still perform at a high level. You still perform at a well enough level doing that. You're not like the guy who's got to like, oh, I'm going to draw my gun. What I hate the most is when people will do that. They'll put their hands down like they do like these quarter draws.
Yep.
And then they're just picking they're picking the gun up and out of the holster like 30 times, like not even like pulling it all the way out. They just like half grab it.
Yep.
And you're like I'm like, if I'm the timer, I'm like, you just let me know when you're ready, and I'm just gonna talk to this guy because I'm like, you're gonna be a minute.
Oh yeah, no, the absolute okay. So Steel Challenge has the worst.
Mm-hmm.
There's one high level Steel Challenge shooter that you get 30 seconds for the make ready or 60 seconds. 60 seconds for the make ready. He takes 58 seconds exactly every time for the initial make ready. I should say, like once you tell them make ready the first time, he takes 58 seconds, and then he's pretty good. But the second worst ones tend to be older guys. They tend to be D or C class shooters, and they will like air gun the stage like 17 times every string. Like I'll give you the first time. Like, hey, like you're up there, you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this. Okay, cool, got it. It's when you air gun it the second, third, and fourth string that I'm like, stop it. You are a D class shooter. This isn't making a difference.
Yep. But all they've learned is from like the GM make readies, and it's like, Lord have mercy.
Right. It's the classic, like they're copying the action without understanding the purpose behind the action.
Mm-hmm. And they're still gonna have to reload a 22 after on the same string.
Exactly. And you're like, if you weren't doing this in your basement for the last, 6 months, it's not going to get better now. I promise.
Yeah, it's like, don't practice it at the match because it's not the place where it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so true though. Yes, but anywho, let's see. So Jeff, do you want people to actually like hit you up and talk to you and socialize with you on the interwebs?
Yeah. I mean, follow me on Instagram, Jeff the Monster King. That's the best place to contact me. Some people friend me on Facebook. I'm kind of to the point where I don't even use my Facebook really anymore. So if you would like to communicate with me, you're more than welcome to hit me up on Instagram. If you want to argue based off of the other thing that was brought up, you're more than welcome to. I'm a very argumentative person and I never back down. So like, be prepared for a 4-day conversation because I don't back down. But no, you're more than welcome to hit us up. You can also go on the NASS subreddit, NASS, on Reddit, and you'll. I tend to post both from my official NASS Reddit account and then my normal one because I'm too lazy to switch it on my phone, and so everyone will know who I am. I don't really care. So yeah, you're more than welcome to hit us up there. Hit me up on Instagram. I don't mind.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Well, that's good. And Jeff, dude, I had a blast chatting with you here. So thank you for coming on and hanging out.
So, one quick thing: is your corgi nearby?
No, he's in the other room. He's hanging out with the wife.
Okay.
I share this room with him though. This is his room.
Okay, because I mean, no disrespect whatsoever, but you asked me to do this, and I was like, the executive function kicked in. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get to that. I was scrolling through your like Instagram, whatever, or the Instagram stories,
yeah,
and a story of your corgi came up. I'm like, oh yeah, I need to do that. I'm a massive corgi fan.
Oh well, and I had two. But yeah, I'm down to one, and he's probably laying on my couch, licking his paws, being like, "This is my spot, Dad. You can't have it." He is such a good dog, though. I will say, if you're on the fence, get a corgi. They're the best things ever.
They're either the best dog or they're going to bark and bark and bark, but they're so lovable.
They are so lovable, and I'm very lucky. He doesn't bark unless someone's like at the back door, like jiggling the doorknob. So I'm like,
oh, that's good.
Yeah, he's not one of those barky dogs, but I'll talk to you more about my dog off the air. But brother, thank you for coming on here and hanging out with me. So guys, if you enjoyed the show, like it, share it, hit them up. Go join the NASS subreddit. It's a blast. Listen to Not Another Shooting Show. And I picked Jeff because Andy's an area director, so I got to stick it to the man and not talk to him yet. So, but get out and do the things, guys. I'm going to see you on the next one.